Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pitch 2022 Side Hustle Final. My name is Christopher Goodfellow, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Pitch. We're here today to hear from 6 amazing founders that are running their businesses alongside a full-time job. Now, we know how tough that can be, and so this year we wanted to shine a light on those founders and introduce the Side Hustle stream. If you're running a business like that yourself, you can check out all of our content and advice on the website, thepitch.co.uk, everything from looking after your well-being to managing your finances. So do have a look at that. We've also got loads of events coming up too on the pitch, so hang around to hear more about those. We couldn't have introduced the Side Hustle stream this year without our partner Sage, who have supported the competition for the last 2 years. Now, Sage, most of you will have heard of the brand, but for those of you that haven't, they offer a cloud accounting solution. It makes it really, really easy to get all of your transactions in your business into a piece of software, to manage them and reconcile them, and to produce the kind of reports that you need to manage your business effectively. That's really, really important, particularly for side hustle founders, because it helps you plan and it allows you to know when it's okay to make that leap from running a business side as a side hustle to going full time on it, which I know a lot of people on the call are thinking about doing. And before I get on to introducing our amazing judges, I just wanted to say that we are streaming this. There is a chat window in YouTube, so do get in there, ask any questions that you have, and I'll put those to the pitchers. Let them know any feedback. Perhaps their story really resonates with you, or you have an idea of how they could improve their pitch. They would love to hear that. And finally, we will announce the winner live in about an hour today. So the judges are scoring kind of as we go, and you will hear who wins the prize at the end of the event. That's a 5K cash grant. It's a ticket to the pitch final in October, to take part in the pitch final proper in October, and a money can't buy mentoring package. There's a lot on the line for the side hustlers here pitching today. So the first judge I'd like to introduce is Andreas from Sage. So Andreas, if you take yourself off mute, say hello, and just give everyone a bit of a flavor of what you do and how you support small businesses.
Cool. Thanks, Chris. And you've done a fantastic job at outlining what Sage do. So you've saved me a job there. So I look after product marketing at Sage. And what that really means is that I'm in charge of looking after new market opportunities and crafting and creating new propositions and new business models to go after those. So I spend a lot of my time essentially creating kind of new startups within our business, as well as partnering, investing, or potentially acquiring in other startups, scale-ups in and around our market, which we think are doing really cool stuff. And before Sage, I spent some time at the Cabinet Office, where one of my main focuses was finding and identifying and creating new commercial ventures that we could spin out of the public sector, where we had great founding teams and great ideas that were sort of locked away and hidden sort of within government. So yeah, delighted to be here, looking forward to being inspired by some of the founders. I've checked out all the businesses. So yeah, looking forward to hearing from you guys.
Brilliant. Thanks for joining us again, Andreas. And John, if you want to go next.
Thanks, Chris. I guess in any context, I'm usually referred to as the food guy, because my background is in the food and drink industry. So my first business we set up way back in 1987, believe it or not, is called New Covent Garden Soup Company. So we were the guys to first put fresh soup into cartons. And I guess, the market was developed from there, and the rest is history. We sold that business in 1998. Nice exit, and I went to the States to do something similar, which was really fresh soup in a carton for the US market. Now, that unfortunately didn't work out at all. It failed. Very interesting learning experience. And then my third business was a company called Little Dish, which was all about healthy, convenient, tasty meals, and then subsequently snacks for young children, not for babies, but from 12 months upwards, toddlers and early school going age. And we set that up in 2006, exited in 2017. So I guess I've got a sandwich of a failure between 2 successes. I guess it's not too bad. These days, since 2017 or so, I've been actively involved in helping small businesses to grow. And I guess I do that through a number of different ways, but primarily as an advisor or as a mentor. So I advise businesses or mentor entrepreneurs, or as an investor. And I invest either directly in businesses, like 6 or 7 businesses based in the UK that I've been involved in over the last 5-6 years, all early stage growth businesses, all food businesses, all brands, or I invest indirectly. And one of the examples of that is a platform, kind of like an accelerator really, called Mission Ventures, which is based in London. We're all about helping accelerating businesses, really helping those businesses to grow, helping the entrepreneurs to spend the money wisely that they've just received from their investment sources. And there's a business called Reedsdale, which is a VC firm based in Dublin, in Ireland, and that's dedicated to early stage food and drink businesses in Ireland. And so that's really it. There's a few other things too, but really these days I'm all about finding different ways to help early stage growth businesses, typically in the food space, grow and scale and ultimately exit. So that's me.
Lovely. Thanks for the intro there, John. When we were in the green room earlier, Simon actually joined on his mobile from his car. So I'm hoping that when he introduces himself now, he's made it safely to his desk and he's behind his camera. Simon, are you with us?
I am here. Can you hear me? Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to hear all your pitches today, and congratulations for getting this far. And this is the second year I'm involved in this amazing event, and I really look forward to hearing everybody's pitches. My background, I am an entrepreneur since I left school at 15 years old. I have started 19 companies. My last company was a company called Fluid, which I sold to PricewaterhouseCoopers. I actually retired at 40, only to find out that that's too young to retire. So I came out of retirement, and now I invest in startups, and I've invested in 76 companies. I invest in businesses that have purpose, businesses that solve problems. And I am running something called the Purposeful Project. And our mission is to help 10 million people start and grow a business. And we help people for free in all sorts of ways. And we basically want to help make entrepreneurs solve the world's problems, help entrepreneurs solve the world's problems. And yeah, that's me. I am really excited to hear your pitches today, and hope that after this event, if you need my help, you feel free to reach out. I'm on TikTok every day going live, giving mentorship and advice. And you're always welcome to come there and get my help. But I'm looking forward to listening to your pitches today, and good luck.
Lovely. Really appreciate that intro, Simon. Definitely check out the TikTok account. I think it's one of the biggest in the UK at the moment, and lots of free, useful business advice there. So thanks for introducing yourselves. So we'll get on to the pitches now. And Hannah, if we could have Kieran from Lumi Talks video first, please.
Hi there, I'm Kieran. I'm 27 years old and I'm a registered nurse. I've worked a lot of night shifts, and one of my biggest bugbears was fumbling around in my pocket to use my phone torch, which is terrible for infection control. I'd often find myself in the middle of the night on a dark ward, needing to check on patients and equipment settings in the dark, only to need to turn on the light and end up disturbing all of the patients. So, I invented the Lumi Fob Watch, the world's first pin-on fob with a built-in torch for working on night shift. This product is also great for nurses and midwives working in the community that need to locate key safes and safely orientate themselves inside patients' homes. I've used a social media strategy to help market and sell my product, and I've built up a community of approximately 2,500 nurses and healthcare professionals. I've done a lot of collaborations with nursing influencers and used my fair share of traditional marketing techniques, which I've had some great successes with. I'm also working with some NHS trusts to help grow my business. It costs me £5 to manufacture and post one of my fobs, which I sell for £15.99. I've sold 700 units and I've had a revenue of £10,000 in my first year. My next step, if I'm successful in securing the grant, will be to continue to build upon my existing social media base, to expand my online store and provide more products for shift workers. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my pitch, and remember, nurses, light up your night shifts.
Love it. Thanks so much there, Kieran. And obviously a problem that you've experienced yourself, and I know a lot of entrepreneurial thinking comes from that. So that's fantastic to hear. If you could just join us in the room and say hello and introduce yourself, and then we'll get into the Q&A.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, no, thank you very much, everyone today. As I've mentioned in the video, I'm Kieran and I'm a registered nurse. And yeah, looking forward to taking some questions on the product and what we've done so far.
Brilliant. Andreas, do you want to kick off with a question?
Yeah, thanks, Kieran. So love the kind of, your connection to the kind of problem that you're solving. You've obviously lived and breathed that problem. I guess I was just interested in terms of, what other solutions are there out there in the market, and anyone else doing this, and sort of how that sort of creates a kind of, I guess, defensible position for you and the product that you've built.
Yeah, of course. Like I think the first thing to mention on that, Andreas, is that it is obviously a very niche product, which comes with its challenges in terms of marketing, but also has its positives as well. Because if you're able to get it in front of that niche, it really clocks on and can really catch on with nurses. Because what I've basically done is taken a traditional nursing item, but put my own unique spin on it. So when people see the product and see that it's got a light on it for working on night shift, in a way, there isn't any other products exactly like this one, but sometimes you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. You can do something that's been tried and tested, put your own unique splash on it, and that can really catch on with people.
John, you look like you wanted to chip in there.
Yeah, Kieran, listen, you're clearly identified an obvious need, and you've got some really good customer insights into your customer yourself. Tell me more about where you are in terms of your business right now. Have you sold any of these items? What sort of traction have you seen? What sort of feedback from customers? What sort of uptake? Have you got feedback as to what you can maybe improve about it? What stage are you at in your journey regarding revenue generation?
Of course, yeah. So I've sold 700 of these, and that's been primarily through using Instagram as the main marketing platform. The key sort of approach to that is working mostly with influencers, but also building content through the Instagram page. As far as taking it to the next step and how I would like to progress that, of course, to continue to optimize the social media strategy. But I also mentioned in my pitch about how I'm in talks with currently 10 NHS trusts, and what that allows me to do to get the additional exposure that I need is that it provides me with the targeted marketing. So if I can get this into trust intranet pages, so we've already managed to achieve that with one trust, and also, for example, attending events and open days with staff to help actually meet with more people that are going to be interested in buying the product and get it in front of them. So there's a couple of exciting opportunities coming up over the next couple of months, which are face-to-face events with staff.
Simon.
Hi there. So great idea. I just wondered, team-wise, what's your structure right now? How are you gonna make this all happen as you scale?
Sure, I think it's a really good question. I think at the moment, I've done everything myself, and I'll be fairly open about that, through from the concept, the design, obviously working with the factory to manufacture it, to go on to market and sell it. I think there's a real sense of achievement in the fact that I've actually been able to get at this point just working by myself effectively. So marketing it and running the day-to-day business operations in and around the full-time job. I do have a business mentor who helps me. They're not obviously in the healthcare field, but that gives me a lot of insight that I can build upon. And really, for additional jobs at this point, when I need support, it's about digging deep into family and friend networks at the minute. You know, when you're at this sort of level, you start and you maximize, in my view, the things that you can do yourself, and then you gradually build up from there. Of course, investment may enable me to take the next steps that I need within my capacity to build up and scale this further.
Could you quickly fill us in as well on like the costs of manufacturing? So kind of what number of units you're doing per run at the moment, and how the sale cost compares to the manufacturing cost?
Yeah, sure. So you can generally order them in batches of 500 or 1,000. The manufacturing cost, as you know, with the current economic climate, it goes up incrementally with each time you order a batch. And the most recent estimation that I got on that was an additional 25 pence per unit. So it's kind of one of those things. There's always going to be costs that are going to be challenges, but it's about thinking to myself, I've worked within that niche on Instagram where I've managed to connect with a large number of student nurses, people who document their journey and who are very passionate about nursing. So it's all built on that community aspect and building up a network. And then your marketing self-sustains itself, because you originally have to offer, gifts and to pay people to promote the product. But over time, people actually have begun promoting it off their own backs and posting stories, which helps it to catch on even further. So sort of coming back to your question there, I think there's always costs involved, but when it comes to scaling up, it's just thinking about how can I then reach those groups of nurses that aren't just on social media, and all of the nurses in the higher age groups as well that might not use it as actively, but are potential customers. Because the way that I see it, every nurse and healthcare assistant in the country, acute and community, is a potential customer to us. It's just about reaching them. Chris,
I have one more question if you have time. Scalability. Simon touched on it. In terms of the audience, you talked about the UK and the NHS quite a bit, but I'd imagine there's an international opportunity here. Have you thought about that? How you would get, what your route to market strategy is, and how you actually do that and scale, and get the resources and maybe investment required for all of that? Is that part of your plan, or maybe later?
Thank you, John. And yeah, there has been a bit of progress on that to date, because I have my target audience is UK nurses, but I have sold a limited number of units to people in Europe, and also as far as New Zealand the other day, actually. So I had an order that was international, but it does come down to current capacity and the sort of strain that would put on me currently to be able to do that. So I would require obviously further investment and a more robust strategy to be able to do that on a larger scale. But then the ways around that in terms of fulfillment, experimenting with platforms, the power that Amazon has to get the product in front of people. I've been doing it off my own website for now, but we have to think about those sort of things going forward. Amazon and protection and different forms of fulfillment to potentially reach more customers internationally. But yes, there is an appetite for the product in the UK and Europe primarily.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for that, Kieran. It's amazing to hear what you've achieved with the time you've had, and you've identified not only a clear problem, but several really good channels to get you in front of that market. And I'm sure, you're obviously a very nice person. You have that background, so I know that will resonate with the other nurses in your audience. So cheers for taking part today.
Thank you very much. Take care, guys.
Brilliant. And next up, we have Julia from Shelf. So Hannah, if you could play the pitch video.
Hi everyone, my name is Julia. Did you know that we throw away 22 million pieces of furniture and homeware every year in the UK? These items are in almost always good enough condition to be reused. People say the convenience and the prevalence of cheap replacements is some of the reasons as to why they do this, and this is known as the fast homeware issue. In addition to this, if you want to get hold of furniture and homeware for a short period of time, such as if you want some extra chairs for a dinner party or perhaps some cutlery or glasses for your guests, almost all of the time you'd have to buy it. Thanks to the rise of flexible working, people are living more and more transiently, and so getting access to pieces for a short period of time is becoming more and more important for a lot of people. What if you can get hold of these items for good value in a convenient and sustainable way? Enter Shelf. Shelf is the Airbnb for homeware and furniture, much like a rental platform where you can list items for people to borrow or search for items that you can borrow yourselves. You'll be able to make some money by listing your items and save some money because you don't have to buy these items that you only use for a short period of time. The market is set to be worth £7.5 billion annually by 2031. As we're one of the early operators here in the UK, we have the potential to be a market leader. Alongside my mentor Kit, who is an experienced marketeer, we are creating Shelf for it to be a pioneer of circularity within the furniture and homeware industry. Thank you so much.
Julia, do you want to say hello to everybody?
Hi everyone, thank you so much for listening to my pitch. I'm the founder of Shelf and welcome any questions you have.
Brilliant. Just one of our judges want to jump in with a question to start.
Let me jump in. Julia, nice to the point presentation. I understand the idea very well. I'd love to know where the idea came from. And I guess it's two pieces of the question. Where did the inspiration for the idea or the insight to the need come from? And was it anything to do with your experience in the past? I think on your screen you said Deliveroo and Revolut. So was there anything in that kind of gave you an insight to the need that your new business provides for?
Actually, it was more of a personal experience. So last Christmas, I was in a one-bed flat with my boyfriend. It was a very tiny flat, and I thought, it was Christmas time, and it came to buying decorations. And I thought, why are we buying decorations? Something that we put up for about a month, 5 weeks at a time, and obviously uses up kind of precious space in that one bed flat. And then speaking with friends about it, they also felt the same. And so that kind of really kickstarted Shelf. And then in addition to that, if you're, in and around London, you'd see kind of furniture and homeware just all over the pavement. And so there clearly is kind of this make and throw culture going on within that industry. And I thought, surely there is a way for us to limit the waste by sharing pieces with one another. For example, these kind of short-term objects that we need, such as Christmas decor, or let's say some garden furniture for when the weather eventually turns nice.
Thanks, Julia. Julia, I think your camera might be off as well, so if you could just pop that on while the next judge asks their question. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Thanks, Julia. I think, yeah, I can really see the kind of the market need and sort of problem that you're tackling, and how it taps into some of the kind of trends around sustainability and so forth. I think my question was around, it's such a wide ranging sort of opportunity. Anyone in theory might need something, you know, so I'm keen to understand a little bit more about your understanding of your kind of target audience. You mentioned a couple of use cases, kind of one-offs versus kind of renters who might need it for a longer period of time. How do you think about that audience, and who's your kind of, I guess, target bullseye beachhead, however you want to describe it, in the early days as you build traction?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Thank you. So in terms of my beachhead audience, it's definitely the 21 to 40-year-olds living in cosmopolitan places such as London or any other kind of major city in the UK, those who are already using similar kind of circular models in their lives. So whether that's your Ubers or your Airbnbs, and so familiar with the two-sided rental marketplace kind of model, and those who are also interested in using home objects for a short period of time, so whether they are expats or perhaps renters. And I think in terms of the specific use cases for that target audience, I'm looking for people who are perhaps, you know, having these events or occasions. You know, I've had a number of user interviews, and many of them have said that they tend to buy pieces for these events or seasons, for example, the summer, and they tend to have it for a long period of time, but actually they only need it for that kind of few months, few weeks, few days. But at the moment, there is just no alternative to it. So those, I would say that's the target audience in terms of renters that I'm looking at for my beachhead.
Perfect. While we wait for the next judge to jump in, I'd love to know when you how you deal with the kind of logistics side of it. So, you know, presumably the stuff has to be cleaned and then it has to be moved. So who's responsible for that, and how do you make sure that process is kind of really smooth and easy?
So at the moment, because it's a two-sided marketplace, it's very much, you know, the users interacting with one another. Really, we do have an option in the platform currently where you can, as a lender, you can tell the renter whether you want them to clean those items or you want them to kind of leave it and for you to undertake that cleaning or repair yourself. And then obviously we then tell lenders to factor that in when they are pricing their items, you know, the rental price of that. And as for the general logistics of things, so how to get an item from A to B, really the aim of Shelf is to create a, you know, very hyper localized communities. And so that then plays into the whole sustainability part of it. You know, we don't want people to travel from northeast London all the way to southeast London, because to me that doesn't seem that sustainable. And so creating these pockets of people that all are you know, with our users of Shelf really helps with that side of things.
I'm going to jump in. Julia, just tell me more about the commercials of your business. I'm intrigued by the concept, and I can see in terms of, you know, the two-sided rental market, I understand that, and the beachhead, very interesting where you want to start out. But do you understand the price sensitivity, or what are people likely to pay, and how do you make money out of this?
Yes, at the moment it's operating on a commission structure, and so we take a percentage of the transaction from both the renter and the lender. And so far, you know, both parties have kind of received that fine. We do have a pricing kind of guideline for our lenders to work off, and usually it's, you know, the RRP of an item and a certain percentage of it, depending on whether they are going to list the item for people to rent for a day, a week or a month, and just using that as an initial guideline. But we do say at the end of the day, it is up to them, but giving them the guideline that this particular target audience are usually quite sensitive in terms of their pricing. And so perhaps kind of on the, I suppose, more modest prices might attract more renters for their items.
Perfect. That's all the time we've got for questions. So thanks for taking part, Julia.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. And up next, we've got Kate from Rowdy Kind.
I'm Kate, the founder of Rowdy Kind, the world's first plastic-free body care made for kid-sensitive skin. We take everything you'd expect in a high-quality bottle of this, and we turn it into this. A child born today will use over 50,000 single-use plastic bathroom items in their lifetime. That's just rubbish. And children and parents are making swaps already. Cloth nappies will be worth over £1 billion by 2025. But when it comes to their kids' skin, parents have to make a compromise between something that's kind to the skin and something that's kind to the planet. And that's where we come in. We have over 3,000 customers already, £150,000 of revenue, and parents have given us over 350 five-star reviews. Plus, we have a big impact. We could save over 1.15 billion bottles if we get parents to swap to our bars. Our strategy has 3 strings. We want to maintain direct-to-consumer as 50% of our business while expanding into retail at 45% distribution and delivering our innovation funnel. Our team has sales and operations experience. That's me from Unilever and Johnson & Johnson and consulting. And my co-founder has marketing experience across agencies and brands. We want to turn our side hustle into our full hustle and achieve 40 million revenue by 2028.
Great. Thanks, Julia. I really appreciate that. And, you've obviously got a really clear purpose. You've got the background to do it, and you had a pun in your pitch, which I absolutely love. So do come on and say hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kate. I'm the founder of Rowdy Kind.
Hi, Kate. I jump in with the first question, maybe. Great pitch, by the way, and well done. Amazing traction I feel like you've got already. Why is this not your full-time already?
So we've been going for about 18 months, and we've been investing any profitability we make back into marketing to ensure the growth of the business. So because we have such a strong growth ambition, as co-founders, we've chosen to maintain it as a side hustle while we get the scale and prove the business out. And actually, we're just kicking off our first funding round now.
Do you want to say briefly, Julia, like how much you want to raise and when before we get the next question?
Yeah, it's Kate, not Julia.
Oh, Kate, sorry.
Yeah, sure. We're looking to raise 500K and close the round before the end of the year. And we already have a couple of investors lined up to take part in it.
So, Kate, that was a very insightful question from Simon, because that's what I would have said. I mean, like, if you've got ambition and you have an ambition in buckets there, you want to get 40 million by 2028. 2028, take it from me, is only around the corner. And you've got traction already. So really the question of how you build that growth and you build that team. So just maybe give us some more insight into the milestones you think exist in the next, let's say, 18 months. Never mind getting to 2028, but what you think you're going to achieve, what the big ones are for you.
Okay. Our first big milestone is to gain distribution in a UK retailer. So we're already in discussion with 2 or 3. One is very early days, retailers for distribution here in the UK, and we'd like to get that closed so that we launch latest Q1 next year. And really securing that is imperative to also in alignment with this current raise. Then our second milestone, assuming, because we know we do a great job of that launch, we want to launch direct to consumer in the US Q2 next year. That's because the US is a 10 times bigger market than the UK. In terms of scale. And we know that if we want to get the scale we want and have the impact we want, we need to be in bigger markets than the UK. So launch US direct to consumer in Q2 next year, and then looking to gain a letter of intent from a US retailer towards the back end of next year, and then align that with a second fundraise.
Okay, great. And again, to echo Simon's question, when you start speaking to retailers, that's going to be one of the first questions they'll ask is so, I mean, you want to be a supplier to us and you want to do it part-time. So I think you have to answer.
Well, maybe the conversations with them, I have experience of working with a lot of them before as well. So I certainly don't lead off the conversation saying, by the way, this is my part-time job. That's not how the conversation goes. The conversation goes, I've got a great product that your customers want. I've got proof of it because your customers are already buying it from me. It fulfills a role in your range that nothing else fulfills at the moment and pushes your environmental ambitions forward. So we're aligned with your goals as a retailer. Let's get this happening.
Okay, follow-up question, and Andreas, I'm sure you want to come in, but it's like, so you got bags of stuff going on, lots of ambition. I think the only observation is, can you do it all? Can you cover it all? Focus. You want to do the UK, you want to do the US. Another question, well, a part of that question is you want to do retail and you want to do D2C at the same time. They're two really different routes to market with different. You'll know this already. So there's an accusation. If you want to, deal with that curveball and say you're not focused enough.
Yeah, I think that it's really important to have a balanced business across direct-to-consumer and retail. The reality is that 87% of kids and baby body care products are bought through retail. So we need to gain distribution in retail to get the ambition in terms of reach that we want. But as a small brand, and we all have seen small brands go into retail, last for 18 months and then come out because they don't have the right balance of their brand building. And that's what the direct to consumer allows us to maintain, is control over our brand, a brand building route, a community route, and a balanced business that's 50% direct to consumer and 50% retail. I think from, I take your accusation of you want to do a lot. I mean, think what we've done so far, working part-time in it. So I feel very confident that we can achieve it. But certainly after this raise, it wouldn't be just Anne-Marie, my co-founder, and myself in the business. So we're looking to bring on board a R&D and supply chain lead, a community lead, and some sales help. So we won't be a two-man band for long.
Sounds good, Kate. Best of luck with the whole thing.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, great about. Yeah, Andreas. Sorry,
I've got time to quickly jump in. So yeah, really strong pitch and clear plan and ambition sort of behind everything. My question, just building a little bit on what John was asking there around building a brand, and in what I expect is quite a crowded sort of market to try and compete against other very big brands. I just wanted to get a sense of how early and how kind of unique is the proposition, versus other stuff and other brands able to kind of outspend you,
I think what you're slightly asking for is a bit of competitor analysis here. So when we think about our competitors, obviously there's loads of them, but we think of them in three buckets. So you've got the big guy, really, which is one player with two brands, which is Johnson & Johnson, and they're really disinterested in the sustainability space. So sustainability is our most important differentiator across all of these, and it substantially differentiates us from the global number one. Then you have what we call local players. So in the UK, that's Child's Farm. And then in the US, that's people like Hello Bello. And while they play on local and natural and premiumness, none of them have engineered a product with the supply chain impact that we have, and it would require them rebuilding their supply chains to get the same kind of impact that we have. However, we know that they're likely to copy us. I mean, there's always room for more than one product in a product niche, but we also know that we have an advantage now of time. So that's why our innovation funnel is so important, that we stay ahead of them in terms of innovation. And we've already started working on the next scale of innovation via grant applications and working with a local university as well. And then you have a third competitor, which is what we call if I'm on a grumpy day, I call them like green plastic. So these are the brands that say that they're sustainable by swapping you into something like a refill pack, which feels like it's better as a consumer, but isn't really. And there again, because we have started out with the focus on creating an entire supply chain that has lower impact, and I don't think I even mentioned in my pitch the CO2 impacts we can have, that is what gives us the big advantage over them. All they've done is taken the existing product mix and tried to greenwash over it, whereas we're taking a full supply chain approach to improving the green credentials.
Brilliant. Okay, I'll have to stop you there, Kate. There's some great
Sorry.
answers there, and I can see you really thought this opportunity through. We did have a question for the audience about kind of what the product set is now and what it will be in the future. So if you want to reply to me in the chat, and I'll post that for you.
Was that our product set?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think you kind of hinted at, but they just wanted to know a bit more. And next up we have, so thanks again, Kate. And next up we have Yusuf from Impact Coffee.
The only thing truly scarce in this world is our time. To make the most of every moment, you need energy. The vast majority of energy drinks are notoriously unhealthy for you, and the hot cup of coffee you normally drink comes with downsides like crashes, shakes, and stomach aches. This is where we come in. Impact Coffee is a cold brew coffee drink infused with nootropics to give you the mind, body, and energy to make an impact. We've added ashwagandha, ginkgo biloba, and vitamin B12 to our cold brew to create a vegan latte that not only provides you with a smoother, longer caffeine hit, but also boosts focus and memory, reduces anxiety, and supports physical and mental well-being. The $2 billion nootropic market is growing at 12% annually, and 40% of 26 to 35-year-olds are asking for a product like ours that gives them focus, mental clarity, and stress relief. We combine this with a rapidly growing cold brew market in a way no one else does in the UK yet. We've worked with only the best to bring impact to life, from award-winning food developers who have worked with the likes of Heinz, to mentors with over 15 years of blue-chip FMCG and D2C experience. We've also received incredible feedback from the likes of Hassan Kuba, co-author of The Unfair Advantage, and the founder of Please Cakes. We were one of 8 finalists of Simon's Beer on Boss competition, winners of the LSE Generate funding competition, and we raised over £26,000 in crowdfunding to fund our first production run. We're now seeking investment of £350,000 to help us scale production, product range, and marketing efforts. Join us and make an impact. Thank you.
Thanks for the pitch there, Yusuf. Great, and I want to try this stuff too, so hopefully I'll get an opportunity to do that. If you want to jump on the call and just say hello to everybody.
Hello. I think I actually sent a few samples to everyone. John, hopefully it'll come in the next few days. But yeah, Andreas, I think you have it in, and Simon, I actually sent it to Entrepreneur House. So hopefully, some people can try it there, and you can too. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Yusuf. Just to declare, as you mentioned in your pitch, you were a finalist in the competition that we ran with TikTok. So yes. It's nice to see you're still persevering, and I loved the idea back then, and I love the idea now. Just a quick question, I guess, because I got a little bit of insight, from previous interaction. Where are you on the traction at this stage?
So in terms of traction, as I mentioned, we did do the crowdfunding round that that I had mentioned previously, and we raised over £26,000 above our £20,000 or £25,000 target. Sorry, that is enough to fund our first production run. It was basically pre-orders, and right now we're also looking for we're trying to increase the pre-orders. So we've only just started this week, and in terms of accepting pre-orders and going into the sort of pre-launch phase, so it's a very exciting time ahead.
Just to say, everybody at Entrepreneur House love the product. So yeah, I mean, I can vouch for the product. I just think it's the traction piece that I wonder, getting consumers to actually enjoy it, experience it. So yeah, just any more information you've got around, proof that customers are going to want to buy it is what I'm looking for.
Sure. I mean, well, I think our crowdfunding was a big part of that. But, the fact that, people had samples, they tried it, they wanted to buy it, and, they wanted to pre-order it. That's something that's quite strong from a traction perspective. We're only at the MVP now, and we can't actually, physically sell the product yet until we go into full production. But the fact that people want it from beforehand anyway, that's pretty strong traction. And then we've also had initial conversations with various catering companies as well. They're interested in potentially bringing us on board, as well as Sweatcoin, who is an app, who are an app that basically gamify exercise by tracking your steps, and then they give you points which you can then unlock various rewards with. They reached out to us asking us if we wanted to be one of their rewards, and we're definitely interested. The only restraint right now is money. We don't have enough to actually fulfill that order from them. So yeah.
Yusuf, great to have a food product represented, and I've got two main questions really, and if I have time I'll ask both. But first one is your route to market. Kate was telling us about her route to market with, in terms of D2C and retail. What's your focus? It may be all of that and more, but what is your focus to start with, and how do you see this developing?
So right now we're focusing on direct to consumer. We really want to hone in on our niche within the direct to consumer market. Following that, we're also looking at independent stores and gyms as a way to stock our product. It can be seen as like a great pick-me-up. It can be seen as a great pre-workout. We actually recently had a day with a CrossFit gym last weekend, where we gave out samples and everyone really loved it and asked us where we could buy them. So we've all directed them to our pre-order page. So that's where we're starting off right now. And we've even had interest from people who typically, sell into Holland & Barrett and saying like, this is something that they would really be interested in. But we're trying to hold off on the bigger retailers for now, because quite frankly, if we go in too fast and we, run before we can walk, that will really kill us, in terms of cash flow, in terms of margins, lots of different issues. So we want to build that consumer base on our own and independently first before we, and leverage that marketing and consumer base when we go for, national supermarkets, etc.
Okay, that's a very smart observation. My second part of the question is really, the USP, and it's an incredibly competitive category. I'm involved in it myself through an investment I've made, and canned drinks, soft drinks, energy drinks. I guess you're a functional energy drink. There's a lot of players out there. I've met other businesses who are proposing the similar sort of functionality to yourself and easing out the spike and mood and anxiety and well-being. How do you separate yourself from all the clutter and all the other guys who are out there saying the same thing or a similar thing?
Well, first off, functional is like a really great buzzword nowadays. And so anyone who puts something else into their drinks that may not well be, quote unquote functional or actually have like cognitive or benefits and enhancements, they still try and call it functional. The great thing is that, as I mentioned, in terms of, the canned coffee drink market right now, the canned coffee drink market is either, cold brews, normal ready to drink cold coffees, or then you've got the likes of Four Sigmatic, which are pouches of say mushroom coffee, which then you hot brew and mix them into your hot cup of water. So we are in between all of these, and so we have an interesting niche in that way. So in that way, that's our competitive advantage right now, and the way that we want to keep building on that competitive advantage is first by being first to market, then secondly, listening to our customers and increasing our product range, both in terms of breadth and depth, by increasing the number of flavors within each nootropic stack. And then also looking at different types of nootropics based on what people are looking for and what people hope to get out of their drink, so that we keep churning out new products that, our customers can say, wow, this brand is really listening to us, and they're doing what we want.
Hey, Yusuf.
Hi.
So to ask you around the commercials, I really like the hustle, by the way, getting the product out there, and I can see that's what you're doing in this sort of guerrilla sort of style of getting to local providers. I guess, you've already talked about cash flow being a bit of a challenge for you getting started. So I am just interested in the commercials, the numbers, what it costs,
sure,
how much you sell for.
Yeah, so right now we're at kind of the absolute minimum order quantities, just because of the fact that we are small scale, and we are selling these at £2.99 a can, minimum pack of 6. Our cost of the can, including the actual canning, ingredients, the whole manufacturing process, all the bells and whistles, right now that's £1.65. But with scale, as we keep growing, we can bring that down by at least 35%. So we would be at about £1.20. So we have like a very tidy margin, which then we can use, for when we go into full on retail, where, they would want, where they would want wholesale prices. We can definitely deliver on that. And then also just from a cash flow perspective, we are working on terms with our suppliers, because we're starting off, everyone wants their money up front, just so that they know that we are legit, so to speak. But as and when we start those constant orders and continuous orders, our payment terms become much more favorable towards us.
Brilliant. That's all the time we have for questions. So thanks so much, Yusuf. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Katie from Havbox.
There isn't a parent or carer out there that hasn't had a hard time when it comes to looking after their children's teeth. And BBC data out last week has revealed that 8 in 10 NHS dentists are not taking on new children patients. So where can parents turn to for help? Well, I'm Katie, dentist and founder of Havbox. Havbox is a combination of expert dental knowledge, dental approved products and behavioural psychology, delivered to children quarterly, evolving and supporting children's developing needs. This formidable and innovative combination equals dental health for children. The D2C dental brands currently on the market are focusing on adult luxury products, which is leaving the children's market wide open. And we're looking to take 10% of the 12.7 million children in the UK. Our small company has almost no marketing budget, so our numbers won't blow your mind yet. But the patterns in our statistics are proving to us that we are tapping into an unmet need. The churn rate is consistently below industry standard, and turnover has increased year on year. 2.5k in 2019, 14 in 2020, and 24k in 2021. We continue to get great feedback from our customers and develop new products based on this feedback. We're a team of dentists, operation experts, and this month we've taken on a marketing co-founder with a proven track record of growing subscription businesses. Over the last 12 years, I've powerlessly watched the slow death of NHS dentistry because treating dental disease is expensive. So what Havbox is doing is empowering children to make oral health their priority, change our culture, and prevent this life-changing disease, and hopefully help save the NHS dentistry.
Great, thanks, Katie. And I think it was John that said earlier that one of the best sort of Zoom backgrounds we've had yet. But if you want to say hello, and then we'll get into the questions.
Hi everyone, I'm Katie. I'm a dentist, and essentially decided to try and save teeth rather than pull them out. So that's how it kind of started.
Katie, quick question from me. My experience in the food industry, but one of the businesses I set up, Little Dish, was very much focused on kids' needs, kids' food. It's a limited market, right? Because kids grow up and become adults. So how do you manage that in terms of the growth ambitions that you've got for your business? Are you going to be limited by the number of kids that are born? And then you got to continue to fill that pipe or fill that funnel because they keep falling out the bottom growing up. So how do you challenge? How do you deal with that challenge? What's your answer to that?
I mean, I suppose the answer is there are always going to be new children. So the idea is that we've created a product that creates habit formation that results in dental health, so that when children become adults, they don't need us anymore. And that's it limits our market, but ultimately there are 12.7 children in the UK. It stays pretty stable. If our products range from children baby age, literally we've got a baby box that we send out things that are specific for babies and starting habits with weaning, etc., and then all the way up to teen flossing, etc. So a parent could sign their child up when they're born and they would stay subscribed until they're an adult. So at the moment it's about £4 a month, so the customer £322 through the lifetime of that child. And I suppose the challenge is making sure that we connect with other brands that are targeting parents at these challenging stages of their upbringing, if, like you said, like weaning, etc. We work quite closely with some quite big influencers, Charlotte Sterling-Reed, who actually works quite closely with Little Dish, your previous company. And she's, very engaging, and people have questions. That's one of the things that we're doing that no other company is doing, is we're providing not just products, but support as well. And that's one of the things that we're hoping to launch this quarter, is to actually build added value into our products by creating workshops with a team of dentists that are going to work alongside our customers to give them support and direct help, because people just cannot get dentists. And the majority of the stuff I do in my clinic is telling people stuff. I'm not actually doing anything. I'm just sat talking and engaging, inspiring, helping people build habits through habit psychology. And that doesn't need to be in this surgery. I don't need to be in here to do that. So that's one of the things that we are hoping to launch this in the final quarter of this year.
Okay, Kate, that's a really good answer. And maybe a small build on the question then would be, they're falling out the funnel at the bottom. You really have to try hard to engage and bring them in the top each time. You don't have them for life. So you have to bring in new consumers, customers, and you're targeting therefore, because the kids are so young, you're targeting parents, right? So what are the mechanisms of awareness generation for your product that you're using to target ultimately parents?
I mean, currently our marketing budget is essentially non-existent. So it's through things like, social media influencer work. But one of the big challenges that we've had is that obviously it's a side hustle. So it's not something that we can spend all of our time on. But marketing has always been our major issue, in that we haven't got a robust marketing formula. So when we've spoken to investors before, we've got a good product, we've got amazing feedback. I know that this product works. I know that it's preventing a really, awful disease for many families, very prevalent and worse in deprived areas as well. And so what we have decided to do is take on a co-founder who is a marketing expert, who can then get us to that point where we have worked out a robust marketing formula. Then we can go and get investment, and then with unit economics and product development, change our profit margins from, it's an MVP still, so it's 33%, but our, post investment, that's going to go up to like 60%. So in terms of, financials, we need investment, but in order to get investment, we need a proven marketing formula. So at the moment, the answer is social media. In the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to look at some other marketing channels and paid marketing channels. Yeah.
Great. Andreas?
Sorry for the delay. So you spoke there about kind of those next steps and bringing on that kind of marketing founder to scale. Just in terms of traction that you have today, sorry if I missed the, how much have you sold today? What kind of feedback are you getting?
So we launched in 2019 and our turnover was about 2.5 grand. In 2020, it was about 14 grand. And then last year it was 25 grand. So we are slowly growing. And I think that is partly because we have such a strong product. We have a really engaged and loyal consumer. Our average charge per customer is about 6 or 7 charges before they churn. The churn rate this month, I've just checked, 6.5%. We sent out over 6,000 boxes. We've got loads of reviews. People love sending us videos of their children. One of my favorite things of all time is when people contact me and say, what is this witchcraft? Because my child has just got out of bed and brushed their teeth and I've not even asked them. And I think part of that is just because, children getting these products in the post, it inspires intrinsic motivation. They immediately think, oh, this is exciting. I like the product. This is for me. It's not just a chore that needs to be done. And a lot of the other stuff that comes in the box is around kind of coaching and supporting the families to create those environments that make brushing just part of the routine. It isn't a battle because it's just what's always been done. And this is why basically this happened, is because I came into dentistry 12 years ago and was really enthusiastic and would tell people what to do. And then 6 months later, people come back and the problems are still the same. And I was like, I'm obviously failing my patients. And actually I ended up looking into a lot of behavioral sciences, and the problem is deliberate actions like brushing your teeth when it's not part of your routine. They're formed in a different part of your brain. It's really difficult to, it's like changing your diet or exercising. There's a lot of friction there. If you can move those deliberate actions from the prefrontal cortex into the basal ganglia where habits are formed, it's just easier. 60% less neurons required, less likely to avoid it. It's just and this is what all the products that we built with psychology in mind, so that when you say to your child, have you brushed your teeth? They're like, yeah, what a stupid question, rather than twice a day for 18 years, a toothbrushing battle. Nobody wants that. And for what? 322 quid, it's a bargain.
I love that pitch at the end there. And as a parent, I'm happy to spend money on anything that makes my life just a fraction easier. So I love the idea. We're going to have to stop questioning next. We have run out of time. We've got one from the audience, but I'll get you to answer that in the chat. But yeah, thanks so much for your time there, Kate. Brilliant. And last up, we have Sina from Wing. So if you want to play the pitch, Hannah, and then we'll get into the Q&A.
Hi, my name's Sina. This is my business, Wing. For some businesses, up to 90% of their sales are done at events in person. There's tons of innovation within online networking, yet almost nothing for in person. Why are these businesses forced to face situations where they receive 50 paper business cards from an event, carry them back to the office, and spend hours manually inputting details into the database? Then email to arrange a call only for them to lose that lead as it took too long. Inefficient and damaging for conversion rates. LinkedIn can be used, but it's inadequate for in-person networking. We created Wing to cherry pick the benefits for online networking and bring it for in-person. With a simple tap on your new contacts phone, Wing uses contactless NFC technology to display a customizable interface supporting over 50 social platforms. No one needs an app and it's universally compatible. One product for life. For every 350 taps, that's equivalent to saving a whole tree. We're now building CRM integrations and analytics, so once you meet someone, their info is automatically inputted into the CRM, saving hours. Since Feb, we've averaged 2K monthly revenue. We signed 5 events to power all their in-person networking, a distribution deal with a B2C brand, and in talks with a very large B2B Middle Eastern distributor. We're NatWest Accelerator backed, and integrating our hardware with mobile phone case brand. Over 3,000 users across the world with brands such as Deloitte, Citibank, and Samsung are using our products. Our team includes my 2 tech co-founders with a joint 30 years experience building software for the likes of Formula One and Boots, 2 junior developers, a 3D designer, and a biz dev. Myself, I'm the head of growth of a Series A funded NFT marketplace, a top 30 UK rated entrepreneurship podcast host, and the official host for London Tech Week's podcast as well. Also a finalist of the GB Young Entrepreneur of the Year. Thank you so much for listening, and with your support, you can help Wing fly. Thank you.
Great pitch there, Sina, and obviously lovely to see the judges' names flying around the screen. Do you want to pop in and say hello?
Yeah, thank you so much. Really excited to be here. Can't wait to answer your questions.
Yes, Sina, I'll jump in first then. So again, really cool kind of concept, and seems like you've got some good traction there. I mean, it's a little bit about how clearly this is like a common problem and something that people have been tackling for a while. What other solutions are there to this, and why is your solution to this the kind of the right way forward that we think is going to catch on?
Yeah, so this is a problem that's existed for a while, but the dynamics really changed ever since COVID, I would say. There's been tons of innovation within online networking, like Hopin became a $1 billion company pretty much overnight. But that really showcased that there's been no technology or no innovation within in-person networking. And so right now, businesses are more used to using that technology, but for businesses that like all their sales come from in person, like manufacturing, chemicals, food, like those sort of places, industries, they're looking for technologies to elevate that, but there's not that many options out there. So the first one is paper business cards, which are incredibly wasteful. 23 million paper business cards are thrown away daily. That's equivalent to 1,000 trees being cut down a day. I mean, the question I'd probably ask is like, what's the first thing you do when you receive a paper business card? You probably throw it away. And for paper business cards as well, like it's not a clean way of storing like information. Like I went to an event the other week. I got all these like paper business cards. I have to go back to the office and then manually input all the details into CRM. That took me like 2 hours to do. It's like a long process. So that's paper business cards. A lot of businesses don't use them anymore because of the sustainability angle. Alternatively, there's LinkedIn, which a lot of people use these days, obviously. But when you go to an event and you add, say, 20 people on LinkedIn, you maybe use the LinkedIn QR code, for instance, the next day, you probably just forget about them because they're just lost in the sea of LinkedIn connections. And especially if you've got like 2,000 connections, 5,000 connections, whatever, like they're going to be lost. With our product, because we're building this CRM integration, their details will already be saved into the database, and we can link in and provide analytics and everything like that. So not only can you see like which events were the best for you in terms of lead generation, but also in terms of conversion rates. So, in terms of, quantitatively, you can know how successful that event was. And also sustainability, one product for life. You never have to order paper business cards ever again. If you change role, so if someone in the company gets promoted, you can just not order paper business cards. You can just go onto our website and then change his or her name or like title or anything, change the links. And it works infinite amounts of times in terms of tapping.
Thanks, Sina. That was really interesting answer in terms of, it's an obvious one in terms of competition, because it's an established challenge and probably doing, and I think there's some suboptimal solutions, like you say. I guess my question, we could have developed that answer a bit more, but just in terms of time, my question is more to do with commercials, and so how do you make money? Is it really just a revenue generation from you sell this once, or is there an upsell opportunity, or is there a recurring revenue stream somewhere?
Yeah, that's a great question. What I would say is that with any business, when it comes to revenue, you either try to grow the user base or customer base, or you try to increase the customer lifetime value. And there's challenges for both of those. So that with the first one, especially with software, you can't really do traditional distribution. But on the flip side, customer lifetime value with software is usually fairly high once they're subscribed. With a physical product, the only way of extending customer lifetime value is to do repeat purchase. So the good thing about us, given that we're hybrid, we're both physical and software, people would buy us and like businesses. And then when we build in these things like CRM integrations, analytics, and things like visual recognition software, so they can scan a paper business card and then that information goes to CRM and stuff like that, we can charge a monthly revenue fee. But then apart from that, and also our margins are pretty good on the products. So one of these products that you stick on the back of your phone, we buy them for about 75p. We could go cheaper, but we've chosen a biodegradable plastic to do it. And we sell it for average about £12. So what that means is we can go to distribution center, like distributors, such as we've already done, and we can sell them and then they can sell it for us, which is what we're doing now. So every single user that comes in would be our user, but they would own the customer, which we're kind of happy with, to be fair. B2C actually is a surprisingly, well, we started B2C. So B2C actually worked incredibly well. Popple, which is one of our competitors in the US, recently gained £2.4 million dollars of funding just from B2C. So TikTok marketing, Instagram marketing. We've now white labeled our software to a B2C distributor. So they're selling on their own, under their own brand, but they're still under our sort of software, which means that in the future we can sell premium software to them as well, like Linktree basically does on their side, but basically translating the Linktree sort of software, but bringing it sort of in person. And Linktree is valued at $1.3 billion. So there is definitely scope for expansion for sure.
Brilliant. And Simon, do you want to weigh in here? Because I know obviously you're big in sort of building community building and networking. So it's great to hear what you think.
Yeah, I really like the idea, and it's a great pitch. And I like your defensibility compared to your substandard competitors. I guess this might sound like a fluffy question, but I'm just trying to understand, I guess, the weakness. If you had one wish, what would it be right now?
One wish, I'd probably get a salesperson to help me. It's every sale right now, apart from the distribution ones, have come from myself. It's very difficult to scale. What I would need, like fully bootstrapped company, we've got a lot of like distributors at the moment, but what I would love is to have an extra salesperson to do like LinkedIn outreach and stuff like that. Because in terms of percentages, when I reach out to people, like because we're very targeted, we go to manufacturers, chemical industry, construction industries that are very heavy on in-person networking. The conversion rates on those are very high. So if we hire a salesperson, I know exactly how, like what the numbers would look like, but we just need some funding. We've already got like tentatively about 50K, like an angel recently offered it to us. We haven't opened our round, but so we're probably going to be looking at that fairly soon. And we've also, with these events, we're testing out our CRM integrations and other softwares with them. So yeah, hopefully we can get a lot of user base from that. So I'm estimating maybe 25 to 30,000 users within Q2 next year, given these distributors, as well as the private members clubs that we're partnering up with. One of the private members clubs that we partner up with, members such as like the creative director of Netflix, VP of Barclays, they're all part of this network. So our ambition is that they would use our product and then hopefully buy it for their own companies. So yeah, it's just a case of getting another person, just one person, to be honest, to help me when it comes to sales.
Brilliant. Great answer there, Sina. We're going to have to stop there. So that's all the time we have for questions, but thanks so much for pitching, Sina. We're going to quickly get some feedback from the judges, and then after that, we will announce the winner. So if you are watching live at home, stick around. It will only be sort of 2-3 minutes. I know we're a tiny bit over time, but if you could stick with us for a couple of minutes, you will find out who wins. So yeah, first of all, it'd be lovely just to go around to the judges and get like an immediate sort of bit of feedback on what you thought of the pitches today, and then we'll ask some specific questions. So Andreas, maybe if you want to kick off and kind of give us a bit of a feeling of what you thought about the Side Hustle founders today.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I'd say is just sort of feeling really inspired, right? I really enjoy listening to people from sort of everyone's come from different walks of life with different experiences and backgrounds, and everyone's sort of honed in on a real kind of market problem and needs. I think there are some, I've been really impressed. I think there are some fantastic ideas. I'm always amazed how much people can achieve, particularly as a side hustle, right? When they've got full-time commitments. So I wasn't quite expecting to see all of these businesses as advanced. So yeah, loved it. Well done, everyone. Really, really great job.
Brilliant. And I definitely echo that, Andreas. It's amazing to see how far people have come, in spite of having to balance all of that, full-time job and in some cases being a parent and stuff as well. So that's huge. John, do you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, I've been incredibly impressed as well. I mean, and I really didn't mean that. I set up 3 businesses, like I said earlier on, but I did it full time. I did it more than full time at times, it felt like. So I can't imagine what it's like trying to do it, part time. And so 6 excellent pitches, guys, all excellent, really, with innovative ideas, early stage, but demonstrating traction. Great growth opportunities, great scalability opportunities. As I say, a broad range across different industries, product and service. And really, the conclusion has been said already, is I think all of these businesses could easily, quite quickly, turn from a side hustle into a main hustle, and getting to a point where you are in a main hustle and looking for investment. That's a very interesting conversation to have at some point, maybe in the not too distant future. So well done to get this far, and really enjoyed it, and it was a great use of an hour on Friday afternoon.
Simon?
I'm going to buck the trend and say I'm very disappointed. Disappointed beyond belief. No, I'm not. I'm the opposite. I think it's great. I guess I've apparently got the reputation of being the Simon Cowell of startup world. So I will say one thing is that I think sometimes chicken egg situation with like going full time versus part-time side hustle, as much as I respect it, it's sometimes better just to get in there and be full time on it. If you have one foot in each camp, it slows you down, and as an investor, it puts us off. So it's kind of, if you're not full time, then if you can't commit to it full time, then investors are scared to commit to it as well, and so it can be self-fulfilling if you're not fully committed to it. So just frankly, a slight word of caution. I want to praise people for doing what you've done, not being full time, but I would say as soon as you can, go for it. You only regret what you don't do in life. Don't let that job hold you back. Appreciate that finances are always an issue, but if you believe, then your investors will believe, your customers will believe. So you kind of got to lean into it a bit. There are 2 companies that I would personally consider investing in today here, and that to me is always a criteria. I've listened to some great pitches here. There's 2 companies I definitely put my money into, I think. So yeah, well done. But please, lean in. The more dedicated you are, the higher chances of it being successful are.
Lovely way to wrap up the event there, Simon. So really appreciate the feedback. Obviously, partly the philosophical thing. I've been there myself, the sort of chicken and egg. For me, the kick up the arse was losing my job, which is not always the best one, but it is great to move you forwards. I do have a note with, as we mentioned at the beginning, it's a 5K grant, so hopefully that would go some way to allowing somebody to make the jump from part-time to full-time. And as I said, there's lots and lots of advice on our website. Hopefully there's some people you met today and maybe even got some investment intros there. So there's lots of ways we can help. And I just think kind of getting together, getting inspired by each other is really powerful too. So I won't sort of hold you back any longer. And I'd love to tell you who won today. So it is Kate from Rowdy. So Kate, if you could jump back on the Zoom, we'd love to hear your reaction.
Oh, wow. Thank you, because I've been so impressed with everybody else. And sorry if it was obvious, I've been texting my co-founder, like, oh my God, they're so good. They're so amazing. So this is such an illustrious company, but I'm actually kind of shaking. So thank you so much, everyone. And John and Simon and Andreas, thank you so much also for your challenging questions, because when you challenge us, all of us, I'm sure, have been therefore thinking harder about our own businesses. So thank you so much for your vote of confidence, but also your challenging questions. And to Chris and Hannah also for the opportunity. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for that, Kate. Obviously, we'll be in touch shortly after. Thanks again for everyone watching at home. Hope you found some inspiration. Products or founders that you love, do get in touch with them. Do reach out on social media. The more connections we can make, the better. Finally, I'd just like to thank everyone that entered the pitch side hustle. We really appreciate that. We're a bit overwhelmed by the number of entries, so thanks for getting involved with the competition. Also, thanks to the judges and founders that took part today, and finally to our partner Sage for making all of this support available and allowing us to keep it free for everyone that's taking part. So thanks so much, everyone. Really enjoyed it, and I thought the pitches were fantastic, and congratulations again, Kate. Brilliant. Take care, everyone.
Thanks all.
Great work. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, Kate. Well done, everyone.
Fantastic event. Thanks
again. And John, Simon, Andreas, I'll connect with you on LinkedIn. If only I